So sometimes your business fails gets you to the place you're supposed to be. Again, what I'm using today in my t-shirt business, I've learned from the fails of the brick and mortar store that I had.
ProWorld talks to successful businesses that make and sell products. Thanks for joining us for another segment of Behind the Business, where ProWorld talks to successful business owners that make and sell products. This segment, we're talking to Jennifer Sanchez from JennSan Design. Jennifer, thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Nathan. Thanks. How are you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. We're super excited to go ahead and hear all the things about your business. Talk to us a little bit about yourself and then let us know the circumstances under which you kind of got started.
Okay, so obviously my name's Jennifer Sanchez. I started the business JennSan Design a year ago. Long story short, I'm a mom of 2 adult children. I am a grandmother of 1 grandson, and everything that I do here is I'm self-employed. I make my own t-shirts and sweatshirts and apparel that just encourage women. And my tagline is encouraging women one shirt at a time.
So you said you started about a year ago. Can you describe the circumstances under that? Was it because of COVID? What was the reason for that?
I started a year ago as a boutique, and I then transitioned into the t-shirt making. My husband and I have always owned businesses. So just due to COVID, we had to close our store, and then he went back to a full-time career because of that. And again, my children are adults. So I was able to just kind of figure out, what do I want to do? Now that I'm a middle-aged woman in my 40s, what do I want to do with myself? And so my brother had invited me to a birthday party where he had a Cricut, and we chose vinyl and we did this little painting project, and I fell in love. And so it just made sense when I saw this Cricut and we did this project. I was like, I want to do this. And I love fun t-shirts. I love just inspiring people, and I kind of seem to always be everyone else's cheerleader. So it just made sense for that to naturally flow. Again, I started as a boutique and transitioned into the t-shirt world. It transpired about July of 2021. And by October, I was full-fledged only t-shirts and apparel that encouraged women and that were inspiring. And just to let women know, regardless of where you're at, whatever trauma you've had in the past, whatever empty nester life you're learning to survive in, that it's okay, we're okay, we can laugh, we can have fun, and we can just encourage each other.
So that's interesting, Jennifer. So you had a boutique to start out with. What was the transition like? Like, what pushed you into being online? Could you talk a little bit about the evolution of that business into the business that you're in now?
Yes. So I had started the boutique. It only ran for about 5 or 6 months before I started the transition to the t-shirt business. And it was a complete fail. I thought, I love fashion. I'm going to open a boutique online. Post-COVID, it's going to be great. Retail was headed towards that way anyways because of COVID. And so I just rode that train and realized that really wasn't what I should be doing. So sometimes your business fails gets you to the place you're supposed to be. Again, what I'm using today in my t-shirt business, I've learned from the fails of the brick and mortar store that I had. I've learned the fails from the boutique, and learning that there's a huge curve in learning social retail versus in-person retail. So I went through some of that. I went through a lot of tears, and I am not a crier. So it was very dramatic for me. I was like, okay, this is maybe not my thing. I'm going to just keep failing. But again, when I went to that birthday party and my brother had the Cricut, I was like, okay, this is what I know. This is what I'm good at. And many years ago, I heard someone tell a story about no matter what you do in life, go with what you know. I knew that I loved graphic t-shirts, but what kind of was the vision I wanted to go with? So I really had to stop and analyze and go, okay, this boutique is a failure. A, why did I fail? And B, what can I do to make my next venture a success? And I learned through social retail and courses that I took from other people on social retail. I learned a lot about people just want to buy from you because you are you. So I'm not just selling t-shirts to women. I'm selling myself and constant encouragement. I want these women to feel that every time they put that shirt on, that literally changes who you are. It changes your personality that day. And the people that come across your path that read your shirt, it may have literally changed their day and impacted them that way. So sometimes I'm okay with the boutique failure because it got me where I am today, and it got me to this place of encouraging others and making other women feel empowered, or other businesses go, hey, it's no big deal. You're going to fail. And sometimes those failures are what make you more successful.
That's fantastic. I like that a lot. So one of the unique portions or perspectives of your business is that you really want to empower women. Can you talk a little bit more about what that message is, and then where you see it going, the message you're trying to put out to women?
Absolutely. So with this business, again, what I wanted to do as I was transitioning, some of the shirts will just be like, I saw something, I watched a movie, I saw something out in public, I heard somebody say something. I'm not inventing these sayings. I'm taking things that people are seeing and staying encouraged by, and I'm actually making them into apparel. The other phase of this is I am encouraging other women, and it doesn't have to be just women. My shirts, some of the things can be unisex, and so it doesn't matter. But I started a business on the side called How to Start a T-Shirt Business course. And I basically took everything I had learned, put it into a course. I deep dive it's been 10 nights straight, and the majority of the attendees are women. And so they're learning to make their own T-shirt business. And that's also part of not just putting on the apparel and encouraging women, but going, okay, now you've got a gift. Now you've got something that you're good at. You've got something that you want to share with the world. Now you go do it. I'm only one person, so let's all try to do something encouraging. And it doesn't always have to be positive. Sometimes it can just be a T-shirt that just is like, this is going to be a day, right? It doesn't always have to be encouraging. Sometimes we have to laugh at our mistakes, laugh at our failures, laugh at our fears. And I guess I'm that person that's always like, hey, it is what it is. People would never guess the trauma I've been through in my life. They would never guess the things I've seen in my 46 years of life, but I'm still here. I still have a smile on my face every single day, and I'm encouraging others. And that's why we're here. So, it just seemed like such a good transition to start that course as well, and just kind of empower other women to do what I'm doing. And it has been successful so far, and they are loving it. And the questions they come with, because I am an open book and because I'm not a planner, it's been actually, sometimes we're laughing more than getting, things done. But at the end of the day, these women are going to be able to, on day 11, start their own T-shirt business and start doing what I'm doing, or encouraging whatever their niche or their genre is that they're trying to sell to.
Okay, so I love all this. So you transitioned from the boutique to online. I'm curious, where did you first start your online store, and where did you get your first customers?
So my boutique was solely online as well. Again, post-COVID, that was kind of the options. I knew that, it was the phase where social retail was becoming a thing. So I stayed on social media. That's where I do all my marketing, all my advertising. At that time that I started the boutique, it was solely on Instagram. So I had my Shopify store, and I had bought a bunch of inventory, and I was all in, right? And then 5-6 months later, I'd had 2 sales, and one of those was a family member, and the other person I didn't know, and that just was not working for me. So it was an easy transition, since I'd already had a little bit of following on Instagram, to switch the name and literally switch my branding, my niche, and everything that I was doing. And that, even still, when you switch over, it takes about 3 months. It takes a while for the algorithm and the people on Instagram and the people on Facebook and TikTok to figure out, who are you? What is she doing? And where do you fit in the social retail space? So everything I did was literally on social media. And that's where I'm at today. I kind of again, those first 3 months was a little rocky. I almost quit mid-January of this year, because I was like, I have 700 followers. It took me 4 months to get here. This is so hard. I barely had sales. I think at that time, about 20 sales. I had another friend in Minnesota that she was just going crazy. Her Instagram blew up. Her sales blew up. And I said, what are you doing? So she gave me a few little tidbits. I did that, and I literally got to 10,000 followers within 30 days. Now, the big thing, and I don't know that this matters here, but the big thing with social retail is followers don't equal sales. So you still have to do all these different things to learn SEO. You have to learn, how am I selling to people? The number one thing is you are selling yourself. So regardless if you're making a T-shirt, or if I'm making a mug, or if I'm making a cup, anything that I'm putting vinyl onto, that is going to somebody who is enjoying what I'm selling, what my message is, my personality. You're selling yourself. So it doesn't matter if I'm selling the same logo on or same saying on a shirt as somebody else. I'm selling me. I'm selling my brand. And so that's just what it took me a while to learn that. And I just kept pushing forward. And again, that's something that I really stress in these courses that I'm teaching as well, is like, you know, it's not just the fact that you have a shirt that's cool, because a million other people have cool shirts, but you have to figure out who you're selling to. You have to figure out who your people are so that you can be a big fish in a little sea.
What do you sell mostly now? And then can you speak to the benefit of the materials and supplies that you use to make your products?
I had mentioned earlier, when I started out, I wasn't sure what I wanted to do. I just knew I'd had a Cricut and I wanted to start this business, and I had some shirts. So I wasn't sure the process of what I wanted to put on there, whether it was learning sublimation, learning the heat transfer vinyl, or learning the screen printing. I've tried all of them, and I just seem to have fallen in love with vinyl. Number one, because vinyl is more forgivable. If you accidentally forget to weed a piece, it's easier to heat it back up, pull that off. You know that when you put it on the shirt, that's the color you're going to get. So sublimation for me, I was having a hard time mastering it. Now I know there's people who are super good at it, but you just have to, again, go with what you know. What works for you, what seems to be the hot item for me, was vinyl. And I want to always make sure too, when I'm choosing my vinyl, that I'm picking that, number one, that it's easy to weed, because if you're getting a mass, like when I do wholesale orders, I have to weed that stuff pretty quickly. And I also want to make sure it's flexible. I always buy it with that it has flex to it, because everybody's body, and especially women, we all have different body types. And so how is that shirt going to stretch? How is it going to wash? You just have more control over it, right? I don't know. I can't say enough about it. I have rolls and rolls and rolls of vinyl, and I'll layer them. I'll do single stuff. I'll do muted, just like I have on today. You can barely see it, but I don't know. I love vinyl. You can put it on anything.
Okay, so I noticed that you received a brand new TransPro heat press. I was curious, it's only been a few weeks. How are you enjoying it so far?
Okay, so I love it. And that's not just a Pro World plug. I truly do love it. And I'll tell you why. When I first got it, I was uncomfortable because it was change. And I normally am a good person with change. And when it delivered, I had just gotten a huge wholesale order for 25 shirts. So I needed to ship those out within 2 days. So I was like, okay, this is going to be uncomfortable. When I took it out of the box, read the instructions, it says it takes 20 to 30 minutes to heat up. I was like, my other little one didn't. But, and again, you're familiar, right? You're comfortable with your old one. We were besties for like a year. And so now I got the new one, and now my bestie's in the corner because this thing's so awesome. First of all, it's 15 by 15. So it's huge. I don't have to worry about moving a hoodie. You know, I do blankets in the winter, so I'm excited. I can do a bigger pattern and just press it once. I don't have to move it. I've literally seen people with smaller ones have to press half of their transfer and then their other half of their transfer. And I'm thinking that's a nightmare to me. So I would never go back down on size. Not to mention this one stays heated. My other one would drop heat. So I would do a shirt and it would right away start to drop the heat. So I'd have to wait for it to get back up there and do another shirt. I can pump out shirts like way faster with this.
Okay, so mostly t-shirts with vinyl, and you're going to start to dabble in some other things with these cool new machines that you've gotten. Where do you actually sell all of your different products? Can you describe all the platforms that you're selling on and what those relationships are like with, you know, maybe some of the people you're dealing with?
So I sell on Shopify, Etsy, and then I do wholesale only on Fair. And I do all of my marketing on Instagram, TikTok, and then on Pinterest. And that all ends up feeding into those three avenues, those three avenues that they can shop from. And I have a link in all of my bios on my pages too, so people can shop one versus the other.
Okay, so out of all these platforms, where do you get most of your sales from?
About 95% of my sales come right from my Instagram and my Facebook feeds and my posts and reels, because when you connect your Shopify into the business suite, then when people are seeing your item, it'll say on the bottom, view shop or view product, and people shop right in there. So 95%, if not even maybe a little bit more, of my sales come right from people shopping in the Instagram app.
Wow, that's very cool. It's something that I haven't heard a lot of people talk about yet, but I've seen it. I've seen the opportunity to go do that. That's very interesting. what's your methodology, philosophy about posting on Instagram or any social media platform to kind of keep interacting with your customers or potential customers?
That's actually a really good question. It's probably the number one thing that people are trying to figure out, the magical schedule. It doesn't matter how often. So quantity is not your magical item. Consistency is. And so whenever people even on social media ask me, how did you grow? How do you get sales? What do you do? I'm consistent, not constant. But for the most part, I do have a schedule. Like Monday through Friday gets a reel every single day. And I record everything I do. So it's easy for me to take a sound, throw in some video or some photo shoots that I'd already done, and throw those into a reel, real simple. Again, sometimes when you put less effort into, they get the most views. I don't know. But that's what I do. Monday through Friday get reels. Tuesdays and Thursdays will get posts. If that's not what you can do, if you can't commit to every single day, you can commit to twice a week. As long as you're consistent, then that's kind of what the algorithm goes, oh, okay, we totally get this person and we know what to do with her or him and where to stick them. TikTok I've kind of put to the wayside just as this course has gotten busy, but I used to do just 2 TikToks a week. Pinterest, I batch that every month. So I do that in a couple hours and I've got a month's worth done. Pinterest is a whole different world from Instagram and TikTok and Facebook. All of my Instagram stuff feeds into my Facebook, so I share it back and forth.
Okay, so this is kind of a first. I've never really asked this for a question from a business owner before. What are your goals? Where do you see your company 1, 3, 5 years from now?
Well, first of all, Nathan, you're going to be wearing my apparel and you're not wearing my shirt today, so I'm trying not to be offended. But, it's interesting because I feel social retail isn't like owning a storefront. When I had a storefront, I knew when my customers were coming. I knew the seasons. I knew the people in that community. They were local and I knew what they needed. When you have social retail, you flow with the times, right? What is everybody feeling? What is social media telling people how to feel today? What are we looking for? Do we need to empower women? Do we need to encourage children? Do we need to, whatever is the topic seems to be the big rush at the time. And so it's hard to have a vision when you're a social retail. For me, again, because I'm such an off the cuff and I can, just go with the flow, it's like my vision is growth. Aside from that, I don't know where that growth is leading me to, but I'm going to do it, whatever it is, and I'm going to be there and I'm going to be hands-on and I'm going to encourage and show others how to do it as well. So as long as I go, you're going with me.
I love that. Very honest, organic answer. Yeah, go with the flow. That's a good skill to have for sure. Oh, well, that's fantastic. Okay, so we're getting down to the last 2 questions. Here's another deep philosophical one. What piece of advice would you give somebody who's about to start onto this adventure that you've already started? What would you say to them that you might have said to yourself as you first started? What advice would you give to them?
The number one thing I tell people is to figure out who you are. If you don't know why you're doing what you're doing and you don't know who you're selling to, you're going to be that hamster in the wheel constantly. I could be sitting here pumping out t-shirts that never move, but I had to figure out who I was talking to, who I was selling, and why. And that's really why people come back. That's why I have customers who own every single shirt I have ever made, and they keep coming back. And so, it's not going to be a success overnight. And if you think you're going to have a reel go viral and sell billions of shirts, that may happen and good for you. But the reality is, it is tough. So you have to know your why you are doing this, and you have to keep pushing, and you have to push for yourself. So that's more than one big answer, but it's one big answer. You have to know your why, and you have to know your who.
I love that, Jen. Nice, organic, truth, rubber meets the road type answer. So thank you so much for spending time with us today, giving us all your insights and behind the scenes knowledge, things like that. So without further ado, where can people that have watched this find you online and everywhere else?
Monday through Friday, you could always find me on Instagram, JennSan Design. That's my Instagram. That is my website, which is 24/7. I've got TikTok as well as JennSan Design. I'm on Pinterest, and you can always email me at at JennSanDesigns.com. And also you can check out my How to Start a T-shirt Business course on my website. The course is a 10-night in-depth about how to start a t-shirt business. We talk about everything from how to decide a logo, how to decide what I'm selling, who I'm selling to every single piece of equipment that I own. Literally on day 11, you have a briefcase of tools and kits in your brain, in your hands, and you will start a t-shirt business for yourself and advertise and list by day 11.
Every business has a story. Let Pro World help you tell yours.